As we've been talking about New York, we've been talking about finance, we've been talking about New York. Let's see what we did at the World Trade Center.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eneri, a Brazilian contemporary artist. I started On Picho movement. That is a street art movement with punk roots. And
I'm João Correia. I'm an art historian who tries to make sense what's relevant in contemporary art from the perspective of world making, ethics, and the theory of complexity.
This is Rio Grande do Sul, a south state in Brazil. And last year was passing to a climate issue. And this state is the same size of Italy.
And this is the Cracolândia. It's a district in São Paulo full of crack addicts. And this kind of social and environmental issues we have in Brazil is not just in Brazil, it's everywhere. This has to stop. And if we can't find hope and commitment in a forum like for culture and democracy with the theme of inequality, I don't know where else to look. I've been trying to give my contribution by facilitating dialogues based on contemporary art for hundreds and thousands of people and supporting artists like Eneri.
This is a building I painted in Rotterdam 2 years ago, and I wrote, how big is the debt of developed countries with the third world? I turn buildings into sites of debate to create impact and make people talk about what is necessary to be discussed. Last year, I was invited to create an installation on the 70th floor of the World Trade Center in the financial district of Manhattan. And I invited João to be my partner because I want to occupy this big space with much more than just writing, but with a concept and an idea. And we decided to mix the political messages with office, that is the history of the building, and then the Untradeable was born inside the World Trade Center.
What is the Untradeable? The Untradeable is a fictional organization, it's a conceptual think tank dedicated to the research, dissemination, and performance of change on issues that should remain beyond negotiation in life. With this huge 2,500 meters, we decided to divide by zones. So as you can see, which one we put a different topic. North, it's planetary. West, inequality. South, immigration. And East, borders. But not only the borders that are geographic, but also the borders that we have inside of ourselves. Now, what should remain untradeable in terms of the relationships between Manhattan and what is north of Manhattan, and what is south of Manhattan? We didn't really know. So we went to ChatGPT and we started to map out all these issues. And we ended up with a 500 pages conversation, which we put in the installation for consultation. In this process, we noticed, as Brazilians, some bias of artificial intelligence. So we started to find ways to go around it so that we could address the issues that we really wanted to address. Thanks to Yves Massiot from Mission Publique, who was our curator of partnerships and dialogues, we made a partnership with a number of organizations who are really specialized in some of the untradeable topics we wanted to address. So we had Yves Massiot and Mission Publique at the top. Then we have the Democracy and Culture Foundation. We have the Berggruen Institute, Civics Colombia, Sustainable Ocean Alliance, the Global Coalition for Inclusive AI, Apolitical Foundation, and this project was hosted by Silverstein Properties, the owners of the World Trade Center. And when you left the elevator, this is the reception, so I will take you to a quick tour to Untradeable. This is our founder's office. We put it in front of
the Statue of Liberty, so then we can always remember what we want doing this project and what we want to bring inside it. And facing the Statue of Liberty, I wrote on the windows, is belonging earned? Is liberty visible or felt? What does a welcome mean? And to the planetary zone, facing the Rootson River, I wrote, is this river still alive? Is nature on borrowed time? And coming back to immigration topic, are the borders made of fear? Is new life a right?
One thing you could not see in the pictures you showed, that you needed to look down to see the helicopters. We were really in the top of the world, and it was great to be talking about the untradeable in that position. In order to take Eneri's message like one step further and take them off the wall and make them become dialogues, we set up a number of different layouts to host the dialogues we wanted to host. So for example, on the top left, we have this format where there are 3 rings. So people in the inner ring, they are discussing, while people in the second and third ring are watching. And then you swap, so everybody has the right to participate. It's a highly democratic layout for discussions. On the bottom left, we have another format for discussions, which is like a fictional court. So this way we can have humanity on trial and have the next generations as judges. And while we are going from one dialogue hub to the other, or walking around the installation, we have a 360-degree view over Manhattan. And that's part of the project, because if we are discussing inequality, looking at the Amazon, looking at favela, or looking at Manhattan, this has a completely different impression on our subjectivity.
In each corner, we create different types of interaction, because it's different when you talk to many people and when you write only to yourself. So this was a way I found to people be able to connect more with themselves. So in the Northeast, we have what is non-negotiable for you, and a girl answered her accent, and for me was interesting because it's something that I fight a lot, being a Brazilian. And how do you honor those who come before you on Southeast? And someone answered, I break the traumas that cross generations. And on North, we have what is our superpower as a citizen, with a collab with Yves Matthew. And it's the superpowers that we need to confront the issues of these days, like patient and human consciousness, and things that is normal but also is precious. And inside the installation, we had a secret space that are my paintings, are some pages of my diary. And this talks with the installation because it's how I feel, how I show my vulnerabilities, and how all these issues that we are talking affect me as a woman, as a human. And these are 3 examples, 3 pieces of this series. And also talks about my spirituality and what I do to protect me from all these issues and to be part of the changing and create a positive impact on myself and on other people. So what the mirror doesn't show to us, because sometimes we look our image but not our feelings through it.
So back to the Dialogues Hub I mentioned earlier, we hosted a number of sessions. And these sessions, they were addressing the untradeable topics for us. So, for example, like who decides who belongs is a session I hosted with Eneri, where we'll show in a few slides later. We had another session called The Politician for a Day with the Apolitical Foundation. Is a foundation dedicated at training the political leaderships of the future. Should that be untradeable? Then another session we had was like mapping the citizen superpowers with Mission Publique, which she just explained. Sometimes we don't have energy to get up in the morning. We need to find some sort of a spark of resilience, and that's the superpower.
Here we had a talk about immigration and how the border affects us, and in the same, we are all the same, even we are different.
And in that previous slide, we had a Japanese lady that was sharing how difficult it was for her to be an immigrant. It's very interesting for us as Brazilians. We go through these issues and we have a Japanese person with a completely different history, completely different economy, going through the same belonging issues. This is a strategy that I encourage you even to try at home. When we are having a dialogue, when you're having a discussion, or you're missing out what the kind of how to assess the situation, assign a chair to the next generation. Assign a chair to the living system or to the planetary and see how that shifts completely the paradigm and the values in the discussion. This is a session we had with civics, and it was a session where it was a performance where we were like practicing what it is like to be a politician. And some of us left really depressed. Some of us left angry because we really feel how it's almost impossible to have representation when you're really wearing the shoes of the politicians.
And here we had the solo meditation because he was walking through the space and he felt comfortable to do his own performance on the space.
Now, I talked earlier about how Tradeable was committed to the performance of change. How does that really happen? So we have these partnerships with these organizations, for example, Sustainable Ocean Alliance, Mission Publique, or Common Home of Humanity, or the Berggruen Institute, and they each are working on their agendas on these untradeable topics. So when we host a session with them, like this information from the session, they can become a report, and this report can be used in meetings in their own missions and agendas. So for example, like a session with the Sustainable Ocean Alliance on the ocean generates data and information that can be used in the conference with the United Nations with our partners.
So this is the Untradeable installation. Thank you everybody for your attention and for watching. And I hope you enjoy it. And if you want to know more, you just need to go to the website untradable.org.
And I would like to thank you too. Here are our contact details if somebody wants to get in contact. And I hope this project inspired on how we can go beyond contemplation and actually dare to try and sculpt reality. Thank you.
Thank you.